Hey, Carl. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you, Robin?
Oh, I'm doing good. So we are back here with the infamous Carl Virgo, and we're going to be talking today because last time we were with Carl, we went through some watercolors, and that was awesome, right, Carl? I mean, it, awesome times. I love those watercolors.
Yeah, it was great to get some input from other people, and because I haven't shown those watercolors to anybody, really hasn't
Yeah.
seen them yet. So
Yeah, it's great.
it was
I
really
mean,
good.
it's always good to see what you do. And I think just you alone are such a big inspiration to me to see all the new stuff that you're coming up with and the enthusiasm that you have working on your art and with different mediums. And today, guys, guess what? We're going to be looking at these pastels and take it away, Carl, because you did these where?
This is a small group of pastels I did out in Seattle. I have a friend, artist friend that lives out there right off of Puget Sound, and I went out there in the winter months for a week or so, and unfortunately or fortunately, the weather should have been better, but was very cold. And I was working with pastel, which is, like I said, the most convenient and the best for working quickly in extreme conditions, which was on this trip. I didn't have to worry about any water or freezing or mixing or anything like that. So I was able to get these sketches down, and we'll take a look at them, huh?
All right, sounds good. Hang on, guys, because I'm going to flip this camera down. My tripod is a little on the rickety side. That's okay. We are going to make this thing work here. Whoa, this is awesome. All right, I think I got it to where everybody can see things pretty good here. All right, Carl, so let's talk about these a little bit. So this was where?
This was off of Puget Sound area. If you're familiar with the area, it's just tons of bays that go in and out and throughout the whole area there. The skies, the color in the skies were absolutely beautiful in the evening. It was very cold. It was a very cold and brutal out there. But
Now, what
the
year was
colors were
this?
great. This was just this last year, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, I think I returned on after New Year's.
Got it, yeah.
So it wasn't that long ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that area. So if you wanted to pull those over, and then we'll just, you guys get to see all the bloopers and everything, because we're flying by our seat of our pants here, people. Wow, this is beautiful.
That has a little snow capped up in the where the mountains go up over there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these are not masterworks, but I really like a lot of them, especially this one. It gives me that cool feeling of how cold it really was out there.
Right.
And that kind of came through, and I think I was pretty happy about that.
Now, how did you get out to these areas to create, or did you take photographs and then come back home?
No. We basically, he had a car, and we would go to different areas and get out, and I would sit on a little folding stool and have my pastels on the ground, and I would do the sketches. And I didn't leave until my pastel was finished, or my hands got so cold that I couldn't work, and that usually was the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are all basically probably 20-minute sketches
Wow.
that I was doing out there.
Yeah, this one's really beautiful too. So, just for, our new artists who's starting to work with pastels, what would you say to them in terms of material?
Um,
Your tips for that?
One of the things is, well, if you're just starting off, get yourself a nice selection of pastels, and you don't need all that many. 50 would be fine. Generally, when I go out on location, I'll take up to maybe 100 pastels. I have access to a lot more colors, but I usually bring 50 or 100 box out with me. And then I replace the ones as needed. The other thing I would say is experiment with different papers, because I don't always use a pastel paper. People think you need to use a pastel paper, and some of the pastel papers are like sandpaper in disguise, really.
Right, right.
And you can really go through the pastels on them. And you end up wasting a lot. I prefer, you have to have a certain tooth to it. I think these, I was using the Canson, just something that you could buy at Michael's or something. It was a Canson, acid-free, I think a multimedia paper, actually. And I've used watercolor paper to do pastels on as well.
Yeah, these are really gorgeous. Pastels are very, like, you wouldn't think that the colors would be so vibrant, but they are. Like, I don't normally work with pastels too much myself. I did work with them early, like maybe when I was in my 20s. I liked them pretty good then, but I don't know, maybe I'll get back to them someday.
Yeah, like I said, all the mediums are different, and you have to work with something enough, to figure out how to work with it. But like I said, I think it's the most convenient for plein air painting, to get down sketches quick, no matter what the weather is. Even if you only have 10, 15 minutes because it's so cold, you just a folding stool, a little box, you got your pad on your lap, and you just get out a quick sketch where normally you wouldn't be able to do with watercolor, or to set up an easel and all that if it's super cold and you're fighting the elements.
So how many would you say you would do for each sitting when you went out?
All of these, basically, I would go out and I would do a sketch, and then it was so cold I would have to come back in. So I generally worked... like sometimes I would do one in the morning and then one in the late afternoon, depending on the light. And I would always check the weather forecast.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some of these, the ones with the more of the color in the background, was where the sun would come through late in the afternoon, and I would like just grab my box and run out. And actually, where I stayed was right on the sound. So we did drive to a few locations, but most of them were just basically right out the back of where I was staying, which was really nice and convenient. And there's some of the islands that are out there. And, now this was like a very misty, kind of a foggy island that was out there.
Yeah, in Portland too, the foggy days were the best days to go out and photograph. I loved it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I sometimes I like the worst weather days that people would not go out. I love to go out because sometimes you get surprised and you do some of the things that you wouldn't normally do.
Right.
And you don't have to have a perfect sunny day just to go out and work. You work when you can,
So right now, Carl doesn't really have a place on the internet. That he's not a guy that's on Facebook or any of that stuff. But eventually, hopefully, Carl, get your stuff up on a website or something, and people can start picking up some of this stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because I have a large number of works that people haven't seen that I need to get it out there, and I think people would enjoy it, hopefully.
Oh yeah. And now, how do you suggest? I mean, have you sprayed these pastels yet, or you spray them when you get ready to sell them or frame them? What is your technique on it?
Generally, when I finish a pastel, then I spray it with a fix. They need to be fixed before you put them under glass, and so that it doesn't.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't come off in that. But I use a workable fix at times because a workable fix. You could put down some colors, and then when you spray it with the workable fix, what you have on the page stays, and then you can go over it with other colors that will not blend in.
Right.
So it depends on what effect that you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. Yeah, you definitely, everybody, you definitely have to get these framed if you're, or at least explain to your customers how to properly frame your pastels, because they are tricky, and even when you fix them, they can still flake. I mean, I've been a framer for over 12 years, and, even as much, experience that I have framing pastels, is very difficult to, frame them to where if you do have dust communicate over the years, it's going to take a while, but it's not so noticeable, but it's tricky.
Well, with pastels, you need to be a little more careful. Once a pastel is matted in framing glass, you don't want to turn it upside down to where the particles will fall on the glass. You want to make sure they're all stored properly in the upright position. And generally, I've never had a problem with it. The ones that before I frame anything, basically, I blow off all excess dust, and I spray them with a final fix, and I haven't had a problem with that at all.
Yeah. Well, your portfolio looks still pretty clean. It doesn't look dusty at all, and so you've been doing it good. So, well, guys, thank you so much, Carl. Thank you so much showing us your beautiful pastels. If you guys, anybody out there who is interested in buying something from Carl, leave a message in the comment, your email or whatever, and I will get in touch with you or get you in touch with Carl, and you guys can figure out a good way to get you some of his work. Until next time, thanks, Carl. I really appreciate what you do as an artist. You inspire me every day, and thanks for sitting with me and going through your beautiful work.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, Robin. Thanks again.
All right, guys, this is the end, and I hope that you will subscribe. I hope that you will like our videos, and don't forget to share with all your friends. And like I said, leave comments. Love you guys. Take care, and I'll be back.